Hello, this is UZREPORT.NEWS and my name is Bahman Gafarov. The number of people who have contracted COVID-19 has surpassed 3.5 million globally, while the death toll has neared 249,000. Wary of Europe's longest coronavirus lockdown, Italians looked forward on Monday to a slight easing of lockdown restrictions after 8 weeks closed indoors. People will be able to leave their homes more freely and more workplaces will be allowed to reopen provided they can meet social distancing rules. But most shops will stay shut until May 18th and restaurants and bars can only offer takeaways. Schools, cinemas, theatres, museums and hairdressers remain shut to be reopened at staggered future dates. With almost 29,000 deaths from COVID-19 since its outbreak emerged on February 21st, Italy has the world's second highest toll after the United States. Easing restrictions is observed all over the world, which of course is a positive factor, and we hope to see more to come. Now let's take a look at the situation in Central Asia. Uzbekistan has so far registered 2,160 cases, 10 deaths and 1,347 recoveries. Kazakhstan has 3,988 cases, 27 deaths and 1,084 recoveries. The numbers for Afghanistan are 2,704 cases, 85 deaths and 345 recoveries. 830 cases, 10 deaths and 575 recoveries are registered in Kyrgyzstan. Tajikistan until recently had no infection cases, but over the past 2 days the numbers have increased sharply, with the numbers of patients reaching 128 cases. 2 people have died. Turkmenistan is still virus-free. A burst dam in Uzbekistan's Sirdaryo region late last week has flooded thousands of homes and sent water rushing into villages in neighboring Kazakhstan. No fatalities have been reported. The breach occurred on May 1st, just before 6 a.m, when heavy rains and stormy winds caused Sardoba dam wall to collapse partially. Officials warned that dam was critically weakened and could crumble altogether, but workers have been dispatched to shore it up. According to the Ministry of Emergency, the situation now has been normalized.
The General Prosecutor's Office said on Sunday that they have filed criminal proceedings over the incident for suspected violations of safety precautions during construction of the Sardoba reservoir, which was completed only 3 years ago. Investigations are being carried out by the State Security Service. Emergency services personnel have so far evacuated 70,000 residents to safer ground. Media showed images of helicopters rescuing people trapped on their roofs by the rising water. Evacuated citizens are being housed in schools and colleges, while some have been taken in by relatives. Although nobody is believed to have died in the flooding, at least 56 people are being treated for injuries at hospitals. Not one person will be left uncared for. We will organize places and suitable conditions for people to live. Building will begin, President Mirziyoyev had said in televised remarks. Officials have said leaks in the dam have been stemmed and more construction material is being dispatched to the scene to ensure the stability of the dam. Overflowing water has been redirected to a lake in the nearby Arnasay district. As you can see, we are preparing a stock of stones and concrete blocks. To date, more than 1,000 units of large equipment, over 200 special vehicles are involved in this case. Materials are received from the Tashkent region, from the capital, and here we have created a reserve. These vehicles are sent in a column to the top of the dam. Sardoba reservoir is 29 meters deep and designed to hold up to 922 million cubic meters of water. The reservoir was intended to provide irrigation to farms in the Sirdaryo region, but there were also many other plans for the infrastructure. The government had intended to develop a fishing industry there.
Over 2,000 of Uzbek citizens who arrived in the country on trains running on international routes before March 22nd were placed in quarantine. Some of them have finally been able to return home as the quarantine period came to an end. Their smooth journey home was organized by Uzbekistan Railway using special trains.
All citizens had been under the supervision of doctors at quarantine zones, organized throughout the city of Tashkent and the region. Some 200 people were sent home on a special passenger train from Tashkent South Station on the Tashkent-Andijan route in the Valley region. The same quantity went home on the Tashkent-Urgench route. We have been delivering passengers to their destinations for more than a month. We will continue this work in compliance with sanitary and hygiene rules.
Biz Russiyadan keldik.
We came from Russia. We are really grateful for all conditions. We would like to thank all the doctors for their help. More than 15,000 citizens who have arrived in the country since March 16 this year were under 14-day quarantine. 63 special disinfected trains were organized to deliver all citizens home free of charge.
On May 9, Uzbekistan observes a day of memory and honor, a holiday of grief, reverent deference and pride and deep thankfulness. This year will mark 75 years since the world had united against the common enemy. In summer of 2019, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev instructed to build a victory park in the Almazar district of the capital. Despite the quarantine, the construction is already nearing completion. Our crew has decided to visit the site and witness the whole process.
A 19-hectare territory will provide visitors with the opportunity to fully experience the atmosphere of the war, to plunge into historical events. The territory of the park will house several other complexes. For example, a central alley to the monument of General Sabir Rahimov. It is located on the top of a huge 43-meter-tall museum. Work inside continues at a rapid pace. The exhibits are being prepared for the final location.
У нас в объекте сейчас работает свыше 1500 человек.
1,500 people are involved in the construction, which is organized in 2 shifts. We are doing everything possible to build a high-quality object and to commission it on time. The bronze sculptures were brought from China, and now Chinese experts are helping with the final assembly.
So, can you tell us about your work here?
Yes, I bring one team from China, and my Chinese team responsible for all the welding work, all the skilled work, and Uzbekistan local team help us to lift all the statues from down to up, and we work together to lift up all the statues, and we polishing the surface and we repotting the surface, and then I think in the next 3 days we can finish everything. That's it, yes.
How long have you been here?
We have been here only for 18 days, but we only start work for 7 days.
Another worth to mention zone is a small area where the audience can see the height, which was bravely defended by a dozen of soldiers, including Uzbek. They withstood the attack of more than 300 enemy soldiers. And here is a corner of the Amersfoort concentration camp, where 101 of Uzbeks were captured and executed. The park also houses a huge amphitheater with a capacity of about 600 people. Nearby there are libraries and an open-air exhibition of military equipment.
Poachers who have killed 2 antelopes and 3 wild rabbits in Navaya region now face $7,000 fine and 3 years of sentence, the court said. The red-listed animals were killed last year and poachers were captured during a raid organized by the Office of the Committee for Ecology and Environmental Protection. The motorcycle and rifle of lawbreakers have been confiscated. Bjerde appointed World Bank Vice President for Europe and Central Asia. In this position, Anna leads the World Bank's strategic, analytical, operational and knowledge work in the region. Prior to this, Anna was Director of Strategy and Operations for the Middle East and North Africa region at the World Bank. As oil prices hitting bottom throughout the world, Uzbekistan has decided to keep up with others and has decreased the cost of AI-80 gasoline. On Sunday, per litre of gasoline was worth 40 cents. According to Ministry of Energy, the state regulation of retail prices for AI-80 gasoline as well as diesel fuel has been abolished since May 1st. All refineries now sell them through market in accordance with the presidential decree on priority measures to improve the financial stability of oil and gas industry. Uzbekistan's Minister of Energy has announced a new strategy for the production and provision of electricity between 2020 and 2030 amid increasing energy demand from a growing population and fast-developing economy, the ministry said on Monday. This strategy, which will be amended and adjusted as necessary, defines mid-term and long-term objectives and implementation of international best practices and modern trends in the global electricity industry, according to a document posted by Ministry. The new strategy envisages the modernization and reconstruction of existing power plants, construction of new generating assets using energy-efficient power production technologies, improvement of power metering systems and development of renewable energy sources. Most importantly, while the state owns hydropower plants, nuclear power plants and some thermal power plants, most of the country's electricity generation plants will be concentrated in the private sector by 2030.
South Koreans across the country went on shopping sprees over the weekend after weeks of being cooped up at home. They call it pobok sobi, or revenge shopping. And South Koreans had days to throng department stores. It was the first long weekend since social distancing rules began rolling back last month. 55-year-old Lee Jong-hee was one of those eager shoppers.
I came here with my friend to get some fresh air. Now I can buy accessories after trying them myself. It feels so good because I can shop in person.
Major retail chains like Lotte Shopping and Hyundai Department Store trumpeted bargain sales to lure customers in. The nationwide splurge gave a much-needed boost to the economy after weeks of stay-at-home measures took their toll. However, South Korea's early action meant it largely saw success in managing the global health crisis. And on Sunday, the government said it would roll back those limits further this week. They also warned people to stay vigilant even as daily life resumes.
Having social distancing rules in daily life means social and business activities are allowed, but individuals and communities need to take responsibility themselves.
Locals looking to kick the cabin fever also return to amusement parks, movie theaters, and even airports. There's been a surge in demand for domestic travel. Korean Air said it's nearly doubled the number of passenger flights between the capital Seoul and the popular vacation spot Jeju Island.
US Secretary of State Mike Pompeo says that shots fired by North Korea across its border with South Korea on Saturday were likely accidental. North and South Korea exchanged gunfire around a rural guard post, raising tensions on the peninsula just a day after North Korean state media showed Kim visiting a factory, the first report of him making a public appearance since mid-April. South Korea responded to shots fired from across the DMZ, but no casualties were reported. Speaking on ABC this week, Pompeo declined to comment on Kim's health, following rumours that he was gravely ill. A South Korean government official also said on Sunday that Kim did not undergo surgery in his 3-week absence. There had been reports that the North Korean leader had undergone serious cardiovascular surgery.
Slowly slithering their way out of the sand, the tiny spotted garden eels at the Sumida Aquarium in Tokyo have become self-isolated and reclusive lately, with fewer visitors gazing into their tank. And worried that their eels may forget how human interaction feels, aquarium staff have come up with a virtual alternative, a 3-day event called the Face Show Festival. Placing tablets outside their water tank, the staff is asking the public to call their collection of around 300 eels to help the animals stay interactive and keep the tiny creatures company. The aquarium says the eels have been a little lonely since the facility closed in early March, burrowing themselves into the sand to hide when staff approach their tanks. It's made it harder to check on their health. And during a rehearsal held just days before the event, smiling faces greeted the shy creatures as they barely snuck their heads out above the surface. The aquarium hopes the Face Show Festival will help loosen the eels up and allow staff to easily determine their well-being again. They say it's too early to tell how effective the effort will be, but told Reuters a few hours into the event that the eels seem to have started lowering their guard.
These were the latest news for today. Goodbye.